Hello, how are you? So, welcome everybody. Is anybody on the healthcare plan that the university provides by chance? I was wondering if it's any good. Do you guys have health insurance? So, my question with it is like, how good is theirs, and then what do they provide? It's like a 1980s Nintendo game sound. Huh. So some of the policies in the next couple chapters are about insurance. And I know you guys kind of don't have to worry about insurance right now. I guess, what age can you stay on your parents until?
I think it's 21.
Okay. So when you start taking care of your own insurance, what kind do you guys think that you'll want to get? Do you want it to be, like if you're healthy, sometimes you don't even really need it, but do you want it to be, you know, certain coverages, certain things that you need for, you want it to be free? Like when you're doing health insurance, which I know you guys could probably stay on your parents until you're 25, unless you choose to go off. Would you want it to be like covered by the government? Maybe that's kind of some of the questions. Would you want it just to be like overseen by the government, totally covered by the government, or like have lots of available options that you can pick from and pay for?
One's by the government be like kind of bad sometimes. I don't know.
It could be bad sometimes.
Yeah, not good.
Like what if they forced you to eat a certain way? Like, yeah, you can have free insurance, but you got to wear like the little health monitor on your wrist, see when you exercise, and you got to eat vegetarian. And if it's that way, would you rather have it you buy your own?
Yeah.
That's kind of some of the debate that's going on with these social insurance programs. So there's a couple about the healthcare plans I wanted to show before this Requiem for American Dream, but just the debate that's gone on, because it still may change a little bit more. So this was a few years ago, but it was like the healthcare that they were providing, and people saying, you don't want the Senate healthcare, you don't want what they're passing. They may force you to eat a certain way. They may make you wear an iPhone watch or whatever. What do they have? A Garmin? Is it a Garmin that you guys do? Yeah, something that like tracks your heart rate and how often you like get your heart rate up, and like, oh, you didn't exercise this week, now we got to charge you an extra $5. I know some people are like, oh, that's fine, I exercise, or you know, but that's some of the stuff they're talking about. They make you work out like that.
Republicans in Congress have been hard at work looking to repeal and replace Obamacare right now. People have very strong opinions about the president's health care plan. And back in, I think in 2013, we conducted an experiment here on the show. We went on the street and we asked people which was better, Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act, which is anyone who knows anything about this subject at all knows. Obamacare is just a nickname for the Affordable Care Act. They're the same thing. So with all the attention being paid to the subject lately, we decided to ask this question again to see if Americans have learned anything over the last 3 years. And, well, let's see if we have. We're talking to people about healthcare today.
Okay,
Do you support Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
Affordable Care Act.
And why is that?
Well, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Obama, so I don't support him in the Obama things that he's got going on. I'm actually really excited for President-elect Donald Trump, so
Right. So you don't like anything Obama does and you prefer the Affordable Care Act.
absolutely.
Do you support Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
I support Obamacare.
So if you were a senator and you could vote today, you would vote to keep Obamacare instead of the Affordable Care Act?
Yes.
Do you support Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
I guess the Affordable Care Act?
Why do you prefer the Affordable Care Act?
So as you guys can see, they're kind of like asking a question about the same policy. It's just that the Affordable Care Act, the ACA, was done during the Obama presidency, so it's also known as the Obamacare.
The Obamacare.
Not really sure. My girlfriend supports Trump, so I go with whatever she says.
What is the main difference between Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act?
One is you pay, and then the other one is Obama pays for you.
There's a difference.
Pretty big difference.
What makes Obamacare better than the Affordable Care Act?
It's more affordable for the less fortunate, I'd say.
So Obamacare is more affordable than the Affordable Care Act.
I'd say it is.
I believe that Obamacare, the premiums are too high, so people end up paying more. So I believe in the Affordable Care Act,
And so the Affordable Care Act is more affordable than Obamacare.
right, correct,
Right.
which is obvious based on the name.
It's in the name, right?
Right.
Why do you like the Affordable Care Act more than Obamacare?
If I didn't like Obama.
But you like the Affordable Care Act?
Yeah.
What if I told you Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act are the same thing? We're talking about healthcare with people out here today.
Tight.
Do you support Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act?
I'm kind of like, can you repeat the question?
Do you support Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act when it comes to healthcare?
I guess, Obama's pretty tight, so I guess I'll talk about it.
How scary are you right now?
Pretty stumped.
Do you know what kind of healthcare insurance plan is?
I don't know, man. I don't even think I have health insurance. I think my mom's gonna have health insurance. Shout out to my moms.
My mom took me off for health insurance.
Thanks for watching. If you like that.
So, which, it would suck to get popped to interview on a street like that. It would mean that we have to know everything going on with American policy and stuff, And a lot of times I'm certain there's policy questions I couldn't answer myself, so I'll just claim stupidity. I try to stay up and informed and up to date, but that was some of the stuff that was coming up. More recently, there was this possible healthcare tax that people were worried about. So this was just a few months ago. And this is because they still are trying to change the Affordable Care Act. And they might call it Biden Care next, because they do have to make some changes. There are some things that are, I guess, technically challenged for the current healthcare.
No secret, Americans spend a lot of money on healthcare. The Bureau of Labor Statistics says the average household spends almost $5,000 per year on healthcare expenses. Managing your healthcare expenses requires an understanding of you and your family's healthcare needs, how you're being billed, as well as any resources and tools for paying off balances.
So I wanted to get into this and then also give you guys an idea. In 2007, I worked at Claremont Recovery Center. They started me with I just got my social work license. It was like $35,000 a year. I think I paid $25 to $35 a month for healthcare. In 2011, I began working at Ohio Mentor. Health insurance was maybe like $80 a month. I got married in 2012 on the same insurance plan. It went from $80 a month to $1,000 a month. I liked that job as they paid me $50,000 a year, but that 12,000 for health insurance really made my salary look like 38,000 a year. So there has been fluctuations. I think here at this college, they pay us 40-some thousand a year, and then we have to pay about 300 for family health insurance. So what you're looking at as an individual when you get out into the healthcare market, I don't know if has any of you worked for a place that offered you health insurance yet? Because I know I didn't until I was about 26 or 27. So for an individual, you're probably looking at about 85 to 105 a month. It depends on the place that you work for. So yeah, depending on the salary and depending, some places pay higher because their insurance is extremely expensive. So it's going to dig way into your paycheck, and it costs a lot. Some of them, well, I think the healthcare plan we have right now, they do track my health, and like they give me $5 for every week and a half that I do like so many steps. So like if I exercise enough, they track my well-being. It's like preventative healthcare. So those are some of the questions you would go up against currently for healthcare.
A good place to start when you're trying to get a handle on your healthcare costs is to take a good look at your insurance coverage. Compare plan options with your HR department, or if you buy insurance on the open marketplace, use the comparison tools available on the marketplace site. It's important to understand not only your insurance premiums, but also your deductible, out-of-pocket costs, and maximums, and how each of these impact your budget. If your family is generally young and healthy, for example, it might be reasonable to offer a plan with lower premiums for higher deductibles. And remember, if you do purchase your plan via the ACA marketplaces, remember that open enrollment ends December 15th. Next, understand your contingency options.
Now, I think Biden opened the enrollment period again because the change of presidency on January 20th. You can enroll in Biden Care right now, and I don't know how much that costs. Like, it depends on how much you make. So if you were to, for example, make, nothing, I do think that they subsidize it. They do have it paid for. They do have it covered. So that's one thing to consider. You could go enroll right.
Lose your job. Can you afford extending your insurance via COBRA? Or would you be better off buying your own on the open exchanges? Would you consider a short-term health insurance plan while you find a new job? You need to ask yourself these questions now, before an unexpected situation arises, so that you can plan for the unforeseen. Otherwise, you might be stuck with higher costs than you expected. If you do find yourself with a bill you can't afford, these are some of the things you need to keep in mind. First, you might qualify for financial assistance from the hospital or medical organization. Call their billing department and ask. Based on your income, household size, and debt level, you may be eligible to have all or some of your debt forgiven. And if your debt doesn't qualify for financial assistance, you likely qualify for a pay discount, usually 20 or 30%, if you can pay it off in one lump sum. If not, you can negotiate an interest-free payment plan, allowing you to make affordable monthly payments. And finally, never, ever, ever put medical bills you can't afford on credit cards. Most medical providers will usually allow you to pay over time interest-free. There is no reason whatsoever to take on interest-bearing debt by putting it on your card.
Huh. So yeah, these are some of the things. When you're young and healthy, I don't think when I was your age, I really cared that much about insurance in terms of if I stayed in school, I did have coverage through my parents, so to speak. Now, if you are planning on starting a family, it's helpful because they'll pay for the hospital stay, having a baby, things of that nature. And those are some of the things that with insurance, the questions that come up, like, do you guys, and why I cover this topic when we're in social justice, do you think healthcare is a social justice issue?
Social justice issue?
Like, should everyone, like you have a right to clean water, a right to
You
food,
should have a right to know.
right to healthcare? Okay. And then,
Shouldn't have to pay for it.
and that's I guess the continued debate, like inside of Should you have a right to choose no health insurance also, do you think?
Yeah,
Like if you did, because you're going to have to more than likely pay for it. And sometimes if you're healthy, that was one of the big,
That's a risk though.
what's that?
I said not having no health insurance is a risk though.
It is, you're right. Yeah. Yeah, which all insurances are like kind of like a bet on something won't happen. Like I got to buy car insurance, but it's a bet on like I buy minimum coverage because I don't get in many accidents. Homeowners insurance. I'm placing a bet that no tornadoes come in, my house won't catch on fire. But you're right, you're absolutely right. So the risk piece is there. And that was the debate that went all to the Supreme Court. Like, are they forcing it as an additional tax onto the American people, or is it like an asset that they're giving to us? So that was kind of the debate and policy. And I know for your social justice paper, you can do health insurance as one of them, because there are a lot of countries that do like a universal health care or like a pay per use, or even in Canada. And then you also sometimes, because of that, wait several months for a doctor. Like say you want to get into the heart doctor and they're like, all right, we'll see you in 2 months. And you're like, well, wait, I need this heart surgery. Like I got blockage. And you're like, well, everybody needs it. And then here, the difference in America is you can pay more and like see that heart doctor. And that's kind of the only thing that differentiates like a democratic society from more of a socialist society. So that's another one of the debates that's going on. I'm still kind of semi in the middle on both of these because, like I said, when I started out paying health insurance, and really from 07 to 09, I paid $20 a month. Then in 2012, it was up to about $80 a month. So it was like 4 times. And then when I got married after that, it went up to $1,000 a month. So it was like another 10 times. So just some things to consider. So basically, universal social health insurance programs provide benefits to recipients that are entitled without reference to income or assets. So that's kind of the way we're going, as a universal social insurance policy. The eligibility is a function of the individual's relationship to employment. So we have pretty much kind of like moved in that direction. Most people of old age, so my parents both hit 65 and older. I think you can get early Social Security at 62. You just get paid less because the average age of an American. Does anybody know what the average age we live to is nowadays? If you were to make a guess, based off your grandparents or parents, or
it's like 70 something.
I think,
77.
yeah, this is the second year in 40 years it's gone down again, because of first the pandemic and then the opioid epidemic. So a lot of early overdoses are changing that. So I think it is 70 something for both men and women. For women alone, it's 80 something. For men alone, it's like 75 or 73, as men live a lot less longer than women do, just on average. So Social Security, you are entitled to that. You guys probably have already paid into it. You ever seen a Social Security tax on your paycheck? So you're already paying into it. I think I started paying into it when I was 14. They used to send us paper statements like, hey, you've paid. When I turned 24, I had already paid my 10 years of Social Security. So once you've paid 10 years of Social Security, you're entitled to collect Social Security. The problem was I still had 40 more years of work left until I turned 62 or 65. So, and it goes off your average income. So it was probably better I didn't get Social Security at 24 years of age. My payment would have sucked. Some people argue we won't be alive for Social Security to come to us, because I still have to live another 25 years to get it. You guys might have to live another 45 years to get it, depending on your age. But they'll still take it out of your paycheck. So this goes to old age, survivors, disability insurance. It is the OASDI is the act, the name of the act, originally enacted as old age insurance, designed to replace some income that is lost when the worker retires because of old age. I think my mom gets maybe my dad gets $2,000 a month. My mom only gets about $1,000 a month off of this, because she worked less and earned less than he did. So she only gets about $1,000 a month. He gets about $2,000 a month. Some would argue you can't live off of $2,000 a month if that was your only income. Some would say that's perfect money. I can cover my bills and pay for everything that way. So that's one of the arguments about that type of insurance. So there's several types of insurance that we'll get into. I'm actually renegotiating my homeowner's insurance because right now it's $575 a year, and I just got an offer in the mail for like $350 per year. So I emailed them back and said, hey, I'll take it. You know, it's I'm trying to find a way to get that house expense down because lots of different expenses. So Social Security, the OASDI Act, this policy has now been expanded. So the original program has been expanded. It now includes workers, dependents, and survivors. So now if I was working and cut off my leg or something and couldn't work anymore, I would be covered under this. And my children would get a little bit until they're at least 18. That would be a dependent. Or if I was killed in an accident and I can't work anymore, it would also pay my daughter and son that's coming in a month until they were 18. It was just to make sure that people that had worked and paid into the system would have something. It contains a disability insurance component, also a hospital insurance, and now they call it, the act is OASDHI if you're writing on that for your social justice policy. So the people that are eligible, it says to be eligible, you must be employed in a Social Security covered job for 10 years. So any of you worked since you were 14 yet, or 6? Didn't they change it to where you can't work early anymore? I started paying into it at 14. When did you all start noticing it on a check? What age? 16. So technically on that, if you pay, it's 4 quarters a year. So the credits, each year that you pay into Social Security is 4 credits. So you only need to work 10 years. So at 26, you guys would also be eligible for that if you keep working and pay every quarter. Now, if you take a quarter off because of school or something, it would just add on another, 3 months as a quarter. So you have to be employed in a Social Security covered job for at least 10 years, earning 40 credits is what they were saying about it. The weird part about teaching is I no longer pay into Social Security. And I didn't know that, and it's because I pay into a pension plan now. So I paid 25 years into Social Security from 14, 15 till 39 or 40. And now I've paid 4 years into what they call STRS, is the State Teachers Retirement System. I don't pay into this anymore. So it would suck if I hadn't done my 10 years, because then that means I would have only paid 8 years, and then it stops and I start teaching young and I only get State Teachers Retirement. Right now, it does look like I could get both. I could get the 40 credits from here, and then also, I have to teach until I'm 70, but teach 30 years and then get that retirement ideally. Who knows what will happen in 30 years. But here's who's eligible for the program. So widows and widowers can begin receiving benefits at age 60. So that's even earlier. You can get it at 50 if you're disabled. The children of the disabled, retired, or deceased workers can receive benefits until you're 18 years old, or 19 if you're still in high school. So I actually graduated. Any of you graduate when you were 19 from high school? That's kind of uncommon nowadays, I feel like. I don't know. I guess that it is a possibility. So it will cover your dependents, if needed. And it's just some of the benefits, again, some of the policies that America has put into place. It would be nice to see these things, because I've paid into that paycheck for real 25 years. And I think it's 10%. Anybody remember how much they took out of your paycheck that was for Social Security? I remember when I made more than 500, they took more out. It's almost like they didn't take any out. But then when I would work overtime at my $10 an hour job, they would take way more out when I did like 50 hours a week. And it always felt like 10%, maybe it was more, but so $50 for every 500 in a paycheck that I got. It may have changed for you guys. I'm not totally sure. So that's to make sure insurance does cover folks. Any questions about that? Does any of that make sense to you guys? I guess that's a good question to ask you. Because for a while it did, especially in the 1990s, it felt like policy was really good in America for some folks. Like after Clinton, we had a balanced budget in 1999. That was like the first and only year we didn't have that like billion and trillion dollar budget. It was the year 1999, the last time Clinton was in office. He got impeached. So we get to see a few presidents get impeached. But it always seems that one half is happy, the other half is not, and it's like the haves and the have-nots. You know what I mean? It's like some of the policy here. So this was only about a year and a half old now, but something that really struck me about American policy and how things kind of grew up in American policy that I wanted to cover some of here. It may piss off the YouTube algorithms, but I want to go ahead and start a little bit of this, unless if you guys have questions about insurance. Coinbase, I forgot to tell you, anybody get your free $35 of cryptocurrency on Coinbase? I promise they'll give it to you. So if you go, I'll go into here because it probably doesn't remember me here. So go to coinbase.com. It is a little bit of time to sign up, but they give you $5 to start. They verify it's you, they make sure, and then there's a few that they'll basically tell you about with the cryptocurrencies, and then they'll give you $35 of a free cryptocurrency. And that's kind of the way I got my wife $35 of it and then myself $35, and I went. Apparently this one's supposed to go up 100-fold this year. So Theta, I found out how to transfer it to the Theta wallet. And then from there, it would be exciting if that $35 I got for her will be $3,500 at the end of the year. I have a feeling it'll only be $350, but you know, luckily it is very secure. And so yeah, I got Coinbase, I got the free crap. I just transferred it all over to this Theta wallet. So if you want to hear any more about that, just let me know. I'll guide you through it. But free money is always fun.
I have a question.
Yeah.
If I signed up for the therapy,
Mm-hmm.
presentation,
You were going to go today?
yeah.
Okay.
get it over with.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm glad you spoke up because I don't have the best of memories. So do you want to just plug into here or do you want to sign in or?
It don't matter.
Okay, cool. This is perfect. Do you have a thumb drive?
On my computer?
Right, yeah, do it. Yes, you could do it from your computer if it takes one of these cords, and if not, you can log in here if that's easier for you.
I can see.
Okay, perfect. And you're welcome to do the podium or sit if you would like. I remember you saying that on Thursday and Tuesday.
Oh, well, I wasn't ready Tuesday, if I'm gonna be honest, so
That's okay.
I just unplug it from this one.
You probably could. Yeah, if yours has a plug-in, you probably just go right from there to the next one. Oh goodness, I get knee surgery next week, so if I make our Tuesday class after next Friday online, I will let you guys know. Because I'm getting old now too.
So I have to log out of yours to log into mine, or?
You could press on, do you see the little blue circle at the bottom? That's a different website that you could log into through there if you know all of your login info. You just start there. Because I don't think I'm logged in. I like this sign-in sheet. That's good.
Yes.
I think you are logged in.
Oh, on Google,
Never mind.
it might be somebody else, yeah.
There you go.
Okay. I did mine on human trafficking.
Perfect. That is definitely a human rights issue.
Okay. That's fine. So, most people do know what human trafficking is, but for the people that don't, it's basically a form of modern day slavery because it takes people against their will and makes them do things that they don't want to do. It's also a form of organized crime that's not just in the United States, it's heavily concentrated in the United States just because we do have those high transportation borders, but it is all over the world. The definition of human trafficking is the unlawful stealing of a person's freedom to gain for another person's profit. So someone else gains money by using people as their labor force, basically. When I researched the three main different types of human trafficking, there's 6 total, but the 3 main are going to be the forced labor, the debt bondage, and the sex trafficking. So the forced labor, all of these kind of go hand in hand together because you can use one for another. So say somebody's in sex trafficking, that is a form of forced labor if they're forced to use their body for prostitution or in another form or fashion like that. So then I wanted to point out who's at risk for human trafficking. So there's not really a specific person I can point to and be like, oh, you're at risk, but there also is. So it can range from men to women, children, adults, any age, any group. But there are people that are specifically targeted because of it. So people that live in lower income environments or don't have as many resources or outreaches to make a living are going to be more at risk because they're looking for outlets to make that money that they're missing or to, I don't know, just make ends meet. So they're always looking for sources to make those ends meet. So most people would think that children are some of the easiest people to be human trafficked. It's actually the age 27 is the average age that somebody's going to be trafficked. Homeless people and runaway youths are going to also be high target people because they're always looking for those outlets, like I said, to make money and make change in their life. People also that are facing racial or ethnic oppression suffer from economic injustices, making money, and discrimination. So they're just looking to feel wanted in a way and make money. So they look for these outreaches. Traffickers also know that their victims need the money and that they need money for their families so that they can provide for them. So they know that they're easy targets. How is human trafficking a social justice issue? It's a violation of human rights and human dignity. So it's always gonna, exfoliate, exploit somebody's human rights. I don't know what I'm trying to say here.
It makes sense what you said. Like, yeah, your right to freedom, your right to choose to do things you want to do. It exploits that right by making you do things you don't want to do.
Yeah. So it's also a social justice because it affects people's health. Like I said, it affects their human rights. So they're always going to be at risk for suicide, depression. It changes a lot of their cognitive thinking about certain things. It can lead to a lot of health risk as well, like STDs, depression, PTSD, physical injuries. And by continuing to let this happen, it fuels the growth of organized crime. So without the help of social work industry, then we're really not gonna be able to put a stop to it because it's just gonna keep going. So then I inserted a little video of her story. I don't know how to turn it off if everybody can hear it.
It should be.
I was born and raised in a small town in Southern Oregon. And I was a good kid in school. I grew up in a normal middle class family. Got great grades. I was really active in sports. And I even graduated a year early. I was accepted into Oregon State University. Dorm room, already assigned, and I was really excited to move up to Fort Dallas. But that summer I got pregnant by my boyfriend. And I had to make a real tough decision whether I was going to keep my baby, unenroll from university, or get an abortion and keep it all a secret. That was a really tough summer for me. After I had the baby, I had some friends that had gone up to U of O to go to college, and they had an extra room in one of their apartments. It was at that time that I met a boy or a guy who pretended to take interest in me. I really thought he liked me and we got along really well. He was really funny and charming. He had a nice car. I mean, he always picked up the tab. He had nice clothes. And he told me he was a record producer. They had a band up in Portland. And that's why he frequently went out of town. There's a saying that says, when you take a child by the hand, you take the mother by the heart. And I really think that's what happened for me. Because I had this new little girl and this man who showed desperate attention towards her. Like he wanted to really help make this family that I really wanted for my daughter. He invited me to move in with him after about 6 months of dating. I was really excited. I brought him down to Southern Oregon to meet my family, and everything seemed fine until we arrived in Las Vegas. He said we were moving there because that was the entertainment capital of the world, and being a record producer and having a band, that's where they were going to get the most gigs and the most jobs, and that's where his job was leaving him. So I desperately wanted to go with them, to be with them, and to start this family that he promised me. He pulled up to an escort service, and he said, "This is how it works in Vegas. I've spent a lot of money to get you here. But first and last on an apartment. Those are fridge up your food. You're gonna need to earn that money back." And I felt shocked. I felt like, how am I gonna get out of this? And you didn't know if you were gonna live or die. You didn't know what he was gonna do or what he was capable of, and so it was really scary. I do remember just running through the casino thinking, these people don't even have a clue what's going on. They're just, cha-ching, Las Vegas, yay! And they're doing all this stuff, and I'm running for my life. I'm running from a man that just forced me into doing things that I didn't want to do. When you have a trafficker that's waiting at home for your child and says, $200 you want my daughter out of the home, I think I was probably more frightened to go home than I was to leave the room. Because if you got robbed, it was your fault for being stupid. If you got raped, it was your fault for not watching your back. Anything that happened to you is typically your fault, and you incurred your punishment for allowing those things to happen to you. But we always wanted to hear your trafficker.
So that was Rebecca's story. So as I was saying, a lot of the different types of trafficking go hand in hand. So she was forced into labor, but it was also the sex trafficking because she was forced into prostitution. And as she was saying, like they really have something that holds you above it. So everybody always wants to say, why don't you just leave? Why don't you just do this? Well, usually they have something on you that it doesn't make it easy to just leave or to just get away from it. And then I also included how social workers can help prevent or how they help somebody adjust back into society after they gain their freedom. So social workers can help people realize the warning signs of trafficking. So some of these warning signs might be multiple people living in one place or living with their employer, which can lead to the forced labor, so they're all together. It could also be not having official identification because their traffickers don't want people to realize where these people are, because sometimes they go missing and you could end up in a different country. So why would you want someone to know who you are? Signs of physical injuries or abuse. Responding if conversation is scripted. Like I said, they don't want people to know. So if they can prevent you from being able to give signs or anything that's scripted, because I know sometimes there's hand motions, there's things that they put on their arms to help you realize that they're signifying that they need help to get out of something, they'll do that. Displaying limited amount of clothing, so that goes with the sex trafficking. So if they do have the clothing, it's usually provocative clothing that they can only wear during when they're on the job. Poor or non-existent health and safety standards, that goes with the working one, because they're not really going to give a crap if somebody dies on the job or anything. So mental health is important. So social workers can always help them go through counseling, therapy, but it will only work for some people. It's not going to help in all instances. And then they can also help a victim adjust back into society. Like I said, for food assistance, looking for a job, housing assistance, they can always help in those types of ways. But it's always just being alert, because it could happen to anybody, your friends, your family, and then just knowing the things to do afterwards. So I should have included it, but they have a human trafficking number that you can call when you see something or hear about something. I should have put it in here, but I didn't think about it until now. And then those are my sources.
Awesome. Any questions? Yeah. In Cincinnati, you can call 241 kids. I know that's just for child abuse, but they would get you to where you would need to go. It makes you wonder about her story, how she got out of the trafficking.
I thought about looking it up, but I haven't had the
That's
chance
fine,
to.
yeah. There are a few YouTubes that do share the full swing on how they've gotten into it and also how they got out of it, because there's a lot of people that you can get tricked into it. So any questions for the presentation? Was there anybody else that was going today? I feel like you guys are more next week and the week after, and that's fine.
I still need to sign it, so you can keep it for a
Oh,
second.
yeah.
That was it.
Okay, awesome.
And then I just write my paper over this too.
Yes, yeah, this is on your second paper. I know some of you are presenting your first paper, and if you're doing your second, that would be it. Sometimes it makes it a little bit easier to present it first and write it, or vice versa. So thank you. There are a few also, like you said, promises to get into a good career of even just going to Miami. So trying to think of some of there's a few other documentaries. I kind of go over those more in my intro to social work class about some of the different trafficking pieces that have come up, and some of the excitement to get into at 18 to be able to go and choose a career, and I'm trying to think of the nice word that they give for it, but adult entertainment, so to speak, but then maybe having something after that held over you to not be able to leave and not be able to get out. So you're flown. I don't know why Miami's a hotbed, maybe because it's warm all the time, it's close to Cuba and other countries. But folks that had left and gone to Miami and kind of got out. There's a few also that have gotten out of even just pornography in the first place. I think that this is the woman who speaks on it because she gave a TED talk about it. And her name is, I'm blanking on it. And so it does start with like kind of my body, my choice, and then also coming full circle to where it kind of does become then a slavery, so to speak, to where they can't get out of it. And, there was a lot of investigations going on. That new movie that came out that I was showing you guys, but I still can't find it. If one of you guys could find it. I guess they're called lot lizards. So at truck stops, there might be a lot lizard, different spots, but I know that I've shown this before, but I don't think all of you were here. The Sound of Freedom documentary and trailer. If one of you can find this, I would love to give extra credit because I still can't find where it's being played. And I'm sure it's come out.
I don't think I can do this job. Tim. As soon as I lay down, I'll just see those hit spaces. How long have you been doing this? 12 years. How do you do it? It is the fastest growing international crime network that the world has ever seen. It has already passed the illegal arms trade. Soon it's going to pass the drug trade.
Mateo. Tú rescatas niños, ¿verdad? Quizá puedas ayudarme a encontrar a mi hermana.
It's an FBI agent.
Walking into a room right now, seeing an empty bed. What we do? For Homeland Security, you know we can't go off rescuing kids in Colombia. This job tears you to pieces. This is my one chance to put those pieces back together. I'm talking about accepting an 11-year-old girl from an army of rebels. Not just her. I'm talking about rescuing hundreds of kids. She could be a block down the road, or she could be in Moscow, Bangkok, LA. Over 2 million children a year are being sucked into the deepest recesses somehow. We do nothing. Someday it's gonna reach the likes of you. And if this was your daughter.
So if you're able to find this movie anywhere, I know it said that it came out last year, but maybe because of the pandemic, it went away or it hasn't come out fully yet. So lots of stuff with that, lots of social justice issues, and I think we are adding a course on human trafficking next year. So that's like a specific sociology class. It's either criminal justice. Who's the criminal justice majors in here? Is there more than one? Okay, I think they're adding criminal justice human trafficking course. So it may be here in the fall. And with that, I know that I promised you guys this. Maybe next time, as we're already a little behind. So maybe we'll get into this one on Tuesday, and then I'll get my little knee surgery for next Friday. But this is one of the next discussions coming up about the American dream and kind of the fallacy of the American dream with going to college. That dude's supposed to be famous. I forget his name. Noam Chomsky? Yeah. I think he's still alive, but he was covering the interviews about the American dream, if it is such a thing
During the
still.
Great Depression, which I'm old enough to remember, there was, and most of my family were unemployed, working class. There was
So anyway, that's all I've got for today. As I know we're right up against the clock, 10 minutes. That one says 5. So see you all next week.